So thanks everyone. My name is Prashant Halbe. Um, the conversation I wanted to have with you is just the power of brand building with Snapchat. I lead creative strategy for Snapchat in India. And I'm going to keep this a very short 10-minute session. The idea is to just talk about, I think the last panel was a great, very insightful, great points about just thinking through first the consumer problem, the consumer behavior, and then overlaying it with innovation. So I'm hoping that some of those points I can touch. So if you just think about the camera itself, right? The camera has moved from being a piece of hardware that we used to capture special moments to really becoming this sophisticated piece of software. A piece of software that's enabling us to overlay computing on the real world. And through that, create interactivity through the camera. So what was earlier a unidirectional or unidimensional experience has really become a multi-dimensional interactive, possible through what is happening with the camera, and particularly what Snapchat's doing within the space of augmented reality. And that is going absolutely in line with how we are seeing the behavior of the Gen Z and young millennial audiences on Snapchat. So there is a shift from moving to talking with pictures to actually using rich visual communication in forms of snaps. So a snap is anything between a video or a picture taken, and that is the preferred mode of communication. So a shift from text communication to really a rich media communication. It also allows for Snapchatters to share a richer experience and share really an entire spectrum of the human condition, because you're really sharing your moments with your real friends. So when you think about technology and the Snapchat camera has evolved, plus there is a shift in consumer preference to using the camera for communication, I think that really opens up a canvas of creative possibilities for brands to engage with their audiences. And all this within the space of using the camera as a storytelling device and overlaying real world experiences with the power of augmented reality. So today, Snapchat has reached scale in India. So we reach over 100 million users in India. And what is particularly interesting while you think about scale is this scale comes with a specific behavior. So going back to what the conversation in the last panel was, if you think about augmented reality, there's a lot of conversation around that space. But at the heart of it, you should only do augmented reality within a platform where there's a behavior of using augmented reality, right? So that there is an impact from what you are creating, and it is actually working back with the consumer behavior that we know from that platform. So on Snapchat, it's actually quite a stunning data point. On Snapchat, Snapchatters play with AR lenses over 30 times per day. So it is that high a frequency of usage, not just of the camera, but of augmented reality. So when a brand innovates with anything in the space of augmented reality, one, they're getting the reach because of our scale. Second, they're getting the high frequency of interaction with branded and sponsored lenses. I'll give you some examples of those. And because of the ability of the Snapchat camera, we are also seeing that among our core audience, which is the 13 to 34-year-old, Snapchat is their favorite app for taking photos, beating out the other platforms. And that is really to do with the preference set around what is your primary camera for use, right? And that is a space within which everything that we're doing with the Snapchat camera is actually helping us gain this sort of preference within the primary camera usage. So you'll say, okay, cool. They're coming to your platform, they're playing with the camera, but what are they really doing with it? So there are a bunch of things, right? So if you think about the more basic use case, it's of course communication. As you can imagine, like I showed you in the first slide, Snapchat's about communicating with the camera. So using the camera to communicate through snaps with your friends. The next is entertainment. Right? Now just think about it. Evolution of the camera as a mode of entertainment and interactivity through games that you can play within the camera itself. So entertainment is the second use case that we see a lot of users come for. Third, the camera itself is starting to get smarter, right? I think in the session in the morning, we spoke about intelligent interfaces, and that's a great way of thinking about augmented reality. So we are training our camera through machine learning to actually be able to identify real-world objects and help that kind of behavior enable search within the real world. And then finally, and very importantly, commerce. So when you think about how can you use the camera to actually start to learn about products, interact with products, see them in your real world view, review them, unbox them, and then maybe, if this is of interest to you and primes you enough, move to purchase them. But just the ability to move not just within the communication spectrum, but entertainment, search, and commerce are multiple sort of evolutions of where the camera is. And if you then think about how is camera on Snapchat being used by Indian brands, I think there are multiple sort of things that we are solving for. And again, absolutely across the funnel, right? So in certain cases, like with Cadbury, it is just around capturing moments, and moments that are camera moments. So if you think about something like Valentine's Day, we see a lot of users on Snapchat coming to our camera on Valentine's Day. So a simple shareable lens experience is a great way to create top of mind recall, particularly if you're a gifting brand. So this is an example from what Cadbury's did. Right? Simple, shareable. Next, with Netflix, we moved mid-funnel. So think consideration. So there is a new show out. The show is called Feels Like Ishq. Of course, I'm talking, retrospectively. The show is about serendipitous sort of love. Love can happen anytime, anywhere. How do you create consideration for the show? So we created an AR experience, which actually enabled you to, through this augmented reality experience, look into a crystal ball and the lens throwing up where you might meet your serendipitous love. So check this out.
So let's see when I'm gonna meet my ish. What is it? I will meet my ish at a Pani Puri eating contest. What a yeah.
Right? Next for Pro Kabaddi League. The role there was to actually try and encourage or try and introduce a sport with very low penetration within this young Gen Z and millennial audience. So we were just thinking of what is an interactive lens experience that will actually prime them to even consider the sport through some amount of like gamification and excitement that you can create through the camera. So this is what we did.
Le Panga.
So one of the cool things about this was we actually trained the camera to recognize through audio machine learning to recognize the words Le Panga. So when you said Le Panga to the camera, it triggered the lens. A very recent example from, again, something that we did with Cadbury was this Raksha Bandhan, which is literally like 2 days back, 1 day now, right? We used the Snapchat camera. So the proposition was, let's get siblings to spend more time with each other. Amazing. How do you get siblings to spend more time with each other? Maybe they can spend time with each other by coming together on the camera at least. So we created a dual lens experience which identified that there were two people on the screen, and basis that dual lens, we actually triggered a lens experience which added a virtual augmented Rakhi on your wrist, again through a technology called wrist tracking. So check this out. So it sort of scanned your face, gave you a measure of your sibling bond, and then encouraged you to take a selfie with your sister, brother, what have you. And then gave you shareable social currency in the form of a Rakhi that got placed on your hand because our camera can recognize a wrist. And then finally, product try-on. Right? Try-on is a great way of thinking about it, particularly lifestyle products, particularly products which are, so a great example of that is what we did with Boat. Let me quickly play this for you. Cool. And why are so many brands leaning in is because, and this is not a Snap data point, this came from a Mindshare UK study which spoke about how augmented reality actually delivers twice the visual attention compared to non-AR equivalent media vehicles. And that results in improved memories and powerful responses. And the way to think about it is, one, augmented reality on Snapchat is an optional behavior. What does that mean? Somebody has come to the Lens Carousel to play with AR. I showed you that stat about 30 times a day for everyone is coming to play with augmented reality. So they're already there. And they're like, all right, cool, what do I play with? And then your brand AR experience is served there. And even that, they are opting to engage with. So this is not forced behavior, this is an opt-in behavior. So one, you are there from your own, you're opted into that experience. And second, when you're experiencing augmented reality, it is your environment within which you're augmenting. So either your face or your real world, which are the reasons why people tend to spend time and that visual attention tends to be higher. And yeah, all of this results in great results. So some of the studies that we did a recent sort of Deloitte study, a global study around augmented reality, and what we found is brands with sponsored augmented reality experiences are 41% higher chances to be considered. Considered with a question like will you share a brand experience with your friends and family? Will this lead you to go and explore the brand further? So 41% higher conversion if your brand has augmented reality experience. Particularly with e-commerce, bottom funnel, 94% higher conversion with augmented reality. And this is an interesting one for me because when you think about AR, the try before you buy option is just something that we have started getting into, which is try-ons. Right? So I can try on shoes, I can try on jewelry, I can try on clothing, and that is solving for a very interesting real-world problem, which is returns in the e-commerce space. So AR-guided purchases lead to a 25% lesser decrease in returns, and you can imagine why. Because you've either explored the product or you've tried on the product, so you have a higher confidence going into that purchase. Cool. I just have two case studies to quickly run through. First, Lay's while launching, and again, in the last panel, and in the morning we were talking about where on the funnel is the problem. So when Lay's was launching their wafer-thin style chips, the challenge was not in top funnel, the challenge was in mid funnel, which is, sure, people will remember that there is wafer style, but will they remember that the specific product benefit is that they are so thin that they can almost disappear. So the thinness or the message association was the key task, and for that we created an AR lens, for which we brought in Alia Bhatt into the lens experience, let her play a magic trick on Snapchatters, and through that showcase the proposition of so thin it disappears. So check this out.
Wanna see a magic trick? Where'd you go? There you are. Gone again?
Right? And the results are pretty good, right? Pretty fantastic, in fact. So ad awareness, 12% jump. Message awareness, Lay's, wafer thin, paper thin, 25-point jump. And that is because people spend an average of 13 seconds with this lens experience. So again, we were talking in one of the sessions about the fragmented attention of users. For a lens experience that was delivered to millions and millions of Snapchatters, the average that we got was a 13.21 second time spent with this experience. So that's a great way of thinking about how it is arresting attention and how that attention is then converting into this sort of an awareness around the key message that your brand wants to deliver. Cool. This is a really cool lens. So what we did is Spotify challenged us with saying, the task is to create awareness of Bollywood music on Spotify. So associate Spotify with Bollywood playlist was the task, right? So we said, all right, if we have to create that association, maybe there's an interesting way of thinking about how AR can solve for that. So the going in thought was, can you walk into a playlist? Can playlist be a physical space that you can walk into? And if you walk into a playlist, what would that even be like? And hence, by creating an experience that allowed Snapchatters to walk into 3 different playlists, we created that association between Bollywood, playlist, and Spotify. So check this out. Notice the Spotify branded cushions. That was a cool touch. All right. So this led to a 21-point lift in ad awareness. Again, all of these are just to showcase that while we are thinking, one, there is a existing behavior on Snapchat that allows for us to be confident going in with AR experiences, because even seemingly complex experiences like this get utilized and then deliver brand results. And the second is, all of this is actually having an outcome, not just an output. So it's not just that we're clocking in great numbers, but when we are doing brand lift studies, we are seeing that there is an actual sort of delta that we are able to achieve. All right, with that, the last thing I wanted to show you is a recent Spotify Doritos example from the US. The reason I'm showing you this is, while I've taken you through all the possibilities across the funnel, now just let's think about what is pushing the boundary on AR actually look like. So this particular example that I'm about to play for you won a Cannes Lion this year. So check this out.
Megan Thee Stallion is one of the hottest hip-hop artists in the world.
Hotties, hotties. What's up, hotties?
But the only thing the hot girl coach loves as much as her loyal hottie fan base? Her flamin' hot chips.
Everybody that knows me knows I love my hot Cheetos. That's just my snack.
So when it came time to launch Flamin' Hot Doritos and Cheetos in their first ever brand campaign, we knew we had the perfect partner to tap into our predominantly Gen Z audience. The problem? Gen Z doesn't care about traditional ads. So we created something they couldn't ignore. We teamed up with Miss Stallion, legendary hip-hop producer Mike Dean, and record label 300 Entertainment to create Megan's newest, full-length commercially released single, Flamin' Hottie.
Damn, I'm so hot, can't touch me. Just like chills on your fingers wanna
Oh, I got some.
But a song this hot needed an even hotter debut. So we dropped this Flamin' Hot song where only true Flamin' Hot fans could get the first taste, a Flamin' Hot chip. In a world's first Snapchat partnership, we used countless hours of machine learning to identify the Flamin' Hot chip's iconic shape and color, and then dropped an exclusive Flamin' Hottie music video on it, turning our product into a first-of-its-kind, bite-sized streaming platform. Music publications and the hip-hop media couldn't get enough. The internet remixed it.
Yeah, that way.
You can work hard, but it's easy to be.
YouTube reviewed it.
I like it. Good job, Megan.
That is hot.
I love that she's calling out Flamin' Hot.
Dance videos popped up across Twitter and TikTok. It even made its way onto your exercise bike.
Meg Thee Stallion has a Hot Cheetos collaboration, and I am here for it.
In the end, we dropped a hot new song on a hot new streaming platform for a hot new audience. And that's some
Real hot girl shit.
All right, thank you so much. I'm here. If there are any questions, post. You can find me around. Appreciate your time. Thank you so much.